Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. Good day. We are from Group 2 and we are doing MAF253 presentation where we're going to turn numbers into decision. So let's get into it, shall we?
So, what is investment appraisal? Investment appraisal, also known as capital budgeting, is the process used by business to evaluate the financial feasibility and potential profitability of a long-term investment or project. Since capital is a limited resource, companies use this technique to decide where to park their money to get the best return. It involves comparing the initial cost of an investment against the expected future benefits, such as cash inflow or cost saving. There are four primary methods used to appraise investment. They are generally split into non-discount and discounting methods. First is payback period. This measures how long it takes for a project to pay for itself, meaning the time it takes for cumulative cash inflow to equal the initial investment. It is best for business with liquidity, cash flow issue, or those in rapidly changing industry where quick recovery is vital. Next is accounting rate of returns. ARR measure the average annual profit of a project as a percentage of initial investment. It is best for managers who want to see how a project will affect the company financial statement. Next is net present value. NPV is often considered the gold standard. It accounts for the time value of money. It discounts all future cash flow back to their present value using the required rate of returns. It is usually for maximizing shareholder wealth. Last but not least, internal rate of returns. The IRR is the specific discount rate that made the NPV of a project exactly zero. It represents the project expected but even interest rate. Now, let's have a look at our question.
Let's move on to the first requirement, the initial outlay. As per the question, cost of new machine is 7 million after deducting the installation and shipping cost of 100,000 ringgit. Then we need to add back the installation and shipping cost to get the depreciable cost of 7.1 million. We also need to plus the increase in net working capital value and the training cost. The increase in net working capital is 720,000. This amount is obtained by deducting the net working capital as per the question. The question say that net working capital for each year is based on 1% of each sales. So 880,000 minus the initial net working capital of 150,000 will get 720,000. And the training cost is 1 million. After we plus and deduct all of the above, the initial outlay will be 8,820,000. We'll go to the second requirement, the annual difference cash flow or DCF and terminal cash flow or TCF. For the DCF, we'll divide it into three columns. The first column is year 1 and 2, second year 3, and the third column is year 4 and 5. For increase in sales, year 1 and 2 is 18 million, year 3 23 million, year 4 and 5 is 14 million. And we plus it with decrease in variable costs for each year, then we minus it with the increase in annual fixed cost is 2 million for each year. Then we minus with the increase in depreciable cost. This is working one, the depreciation of new machine, which is 7.1 million divided by 5, we'll get 1.42 million. Then we plus and minus all of the above numbers and we'll get EBT or profit before tax of year 1 and 2, 27.18 million, year 3, 35.68 million, and year 4 and 5 is 20.38 million. Then we minus it with taxation of 25% for each year. Then we'll get EAT or profit after tax of year 20.385 million for year 1 and 2, 26.7876 million for year 3, and 15.285 million for year 4 and 5. Then we add back the depreciation reversal of the new machine of 1.42 million. Then the DCF for each year is as follows: 21,805,000 for year 1 and 2, 28,180,000 for year 3, and the last column 16,705,000. Next is the terminal cash flow. There's no salvage value of the new machine, so which is put zero, and then the recapture in net working capital of 720,000. So the total of terminal cash flow is equals to 720,000. Then for calculate the net present value or NPV, we'll transfer all the amount above in a timeline. So for year 0, the cash flow is 8.82 million. For year 1, 21.805 million. Year 2, also the same as year 1. Year 3, 28.180 million. Year 4 is 16.705 million. And the last year, the fifth year, will add the DCF and TCF, which comes up to a total of 17.425 million. Then, for the BVIF table, we'll look at the 15% as stated in the question. So for year 0 is equals to 1%. So the PV is 8.8, negative 8.820 million. Year 1 and 2, 21.805 million times with 1.6527 will get 36,000. So 36,037,124. For year 3, 28,180,000 times with 0.6575, which comes up to a total of 18,528,350. And year 4, 16,705,000 times with 0.5718 comes up to a total of 9.551919 million. And year 5, 17,425,000 times with 0.4972 to a total of 8,663,710. Then we add all the PV and we'll get 63,961,103.
Now, let's determine the internal rate of return. To do this, we will be using the formula IRR equal to R1 plus NPV1 divided by NPV1 plus NPV2. Multiply, multiply it by open bracket R2 plus R1 close bracket. The R1 is 50% plus the first MPB 2,239,256 ringgit point 175 cents divided by 2,239,256 ringgit point 175 cents minus open bracket negative the second MPB 2,985,674 ringgit 90 cents. Multiply, multiply it by open bracket 20% minus 50%. Close bracket. And then we will get the answer of 70.40% for the IRR. Now, they advise the company whether they should proceed with the new project. Based on the IRR of approximately 70.40%, which exceeds the company required rate of return of 50%, the project is financially viable. Therefore, the company should proceed with the investment as it expected to increase the shareholder wealth. Now, that's all for the first part of the presentation. Thank you. Now, let's move on to the second part.
Hari, Irfan, what are you doing?
Oh, Kariman, Kariman. So currently we are talking about challenges among Malaysian SME.
Oh, so what is SME?
Let us explain it to you. Do you guys know what is SME? SME is stand for small to medium sized business, or it can be defined as business that operate on a small to medium scale and play a key role in economic growth and employment. Besides, the S&P failure rate in Malaysia is very high at 60% within the first 5 years. This warning statistic highlight the need for stronger support system and improved business management. There are primary reasons of the failure S&P, like the first one, poor financial management skills. This happens when many owners lack knowledge in financial analysis. As a result, they struggle to manage that. And the second one is weak management skills. Weak management reduce productivities and limit business growth. Fund are often misused as SME owners fail to keep proper financial records and lack future plannings. Apart from that, key challenges faced by SME globally include financial constraint, low productivity, weak managerial skills, limited access to technology, heavy regulatory burdens, and marketing difficulties. So let me explain detail about these key challenges. So the first main issue is financial constraints. The research on SME challenges has been ongoing since the early 1980s. This topic still receives strong attention from researchers and policymakers. Access to finance is consistently identified as the most serious challenge for SME. For example, banks in South Africa are reluctant to finance SME due to high perceived risk and low expected return. As a result, SME struggles to obtain loans, making finance one of the main external constraints that limit their survival and growth. Even in financially advanced countries like Singapore, SME and startups still face inadequate access to finance despite the ability of capital through banks and markets. And SME are crucial contributors to economic development worldwide. For example, UAE represent 90% of total business. This shows their dominance in the private sector. In Middle East, North Africa countries, SME contribute about 51% to GDP and 62% to employments. This highlight their role in economic growth and job creations. In Nigeria, SME are viewed as a backbone of inclusive growth, helping to reduce unemployment and promote entrepreneurship. Other than that, banks prefer lending to large and safer borrowers instead of SME. This shows that banks usually see SME as a high risk because they have limited asset, unstable cash flows, and shorter business histories. In Scotland, despite reduced interest rates to encourage SME fundings, borrowing by SME has declined due to strict banking regulations. Even though the interest rate were lowered to make loan more affordable for SME, strict banking regulations still make it difficult for them to qualify for loans. The Royal Bank of Scotland limits SME lending to reduce risk, following strict regulatory and treasury instructions. By overall, from these main challenges, limited access to credit is the most significant challenge faced by SME worldwide. Regardless of whether a country is developed or developing, SME struggles to obtain sufficient financial support, which restrict their growth, competitiveness, and long-term survival.
Now, let's just talk about another key challenge, which is management issues, where we're going to talk about how company internet system can affect their performance overall. So the first issue would be management competency. Small and medium enterprises require strong management skills in order to grow. However, many SME owners and employees lack leadership, planning, and decision making. This weak management reduces efficiency and limits business performance and expansion. Another issues would be their financial knowledge. Many SME owners have limited financial knowledge, such as preparing business plans and also financial records. So as a result, banks find it difficult to assess their credit risk and to approve their loans. So this creates financial constraints that slow down their business growth. The third issue would be accounting system. Although most SMEs meet their basic accounting requirements, but many managers do not know how to use financial information for decision making. This weak accounting system limit the abilities of the business to plan, control costs, and support long-term growth. Uh, the last issues will be their training and also human resources, where training and skills development are often not prioritized in SMEs due to the cost and time constraints. Many SMEs focus on short-term goals and see training as an expense rather than an investment. So as a result, employee skills and productivity remain low. Well, to conclude, our research shows that Malaysian SMEs are stuck in a cycle. Their lack of internal management skills makes them look riskier to the bank, which cuts off their funding. To fix the money problem, we must first fix the management problem. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.